Hello everyone, Minute Plus Meditation here. It is Wednesday, February the 19th. Continue with Genesis chapter 8. At the end of 40 days, that's the key, 40. For at the end of 40 days, not 39, not 41. At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made and sent out the raven. Now, if you know the episode, you know that eventually the raven doesn't come back. So the first time he does come back, Noah waits another 7 days, and again he sent out the dove from the ark, and the dove came back in the evening. Then he waited another 7 days and sent out the dove, and it did not return anymore. So he knows the floodwaters are receding. So then Noah built an altar to the Lord and took every clean animal and every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And when the Lord smelled the pleasing odor, the Lord said, I will never again curse the ground because of human beings, and so on. So 40 days, at the end of 40 days, basically, this is a very significant number in the scriptures. It connotes assessment, judgment, a meeting with the Lord, an encounter, many, many things like this. But essentially, it's a time of sifting, a time of judgment that an individual has gone through. And at the end of this 40 days, we see that the earth has been cleansed, and humanity will be given this new opportunity through through Noah, the power of one. His example. He's got his family in the ark, but it's really his obedience to the Lord. It's his righteousness that will be the trigger, the key, or the vehicle by which humanity is renewed. And so, you and I, of course, the Lord relies upon us to be righteous, to obey him, to be a vehicle or an instrument through which grace is, given through the world. But here, it's Noah. So, and then he builds this altar, and he gives thanks to the Lord for guiding them through this. So there's so many, it's an example of how through trials and tribulations, do we actually give thanks to the Lord, or we just say, thank God it's over? And I understand that. But do we actually thank God for it? Because God always has a purpose in bringing us or allowing trials to happen in our life, even though they're not pleasant. But he has a purpose, and we can come through these purified, relying upon him, much more aware of ourselves, all of these things that will actually help us. So just be cognizant of, the trials and tribulations that you go through, and be aware of how important that number 40 is in the Bible, and sort of try to tie the two of them together in your life. Over to the gospel. Wednesday, Jesus and the disciples came to Bethsaida. So some people brought to Jesus a man who was born blind and begged Jesus to touch him. So Jesus took the man who was blind by the hand and led him out of the village, which is really interesting why the Lord does some of these things. And it's not totally revealed to us, because the Lord simply could have willed him to be healed and he would be healed, right? To the blind man at the pool, go and wash in Siloam and you'll be healed, and he was healed. So Jesus doesn't have to be directly involved in these things. So he put saliva on his eyes and laid his hands on him and asked, can you see anything? And the man sees saliva, because this is a recreation, like from Genesis, the saliva of God. And the man looked up and said, I can see people, but they are like trees walking. All right, which is really strange, because Jesus almost always brings about an instantaneous cure, right? He has the power to do this. So there's something in the man's response to Jesus's power, Jesus's grace, that needs, as we would say, step by step, or needs stage healing, as it were. So Jesus laid his hands on his eyes again, which he doesn't need to do. And the man looked up intently, and his sight was restored, and he saw Jesus clearly. So there are times when Jesus would like to bless us, just pour out his blessings on us. He has his own reasons for not doing this all the time. But sometimes there are times when it's because of our lack of faith, or the fact that our faith needs to grow and receive more and more of his grace. And so you and I are tempted frequently to stop praying, or to just give up, give into discouragement, when in fact we need to keep going forward. That's what the saints teach us. We need to keep going forward, and our Lord will reward this perseverance with more faith, with more hope, and with greater charity. So, as you're going through these stages in your relationship with God in your life, one thing is never give up. Don't stop going forward. Be faithful every single day. God bless you.